Welcome to the Silverstone Technology Cluster's Ask the Expert podcast. I'm your host, Jeannie. The mission of the STC is to support advanced engineering, electronics, and software businesses, and we're always keen to share industry knowledge and insights. In each podcast episode, we sit down with seasoned professionals and industry leaders to uncover valuable knowledge, share real-world experiences, and explore smart strategies for navigating the challenges of modern business in advanced engineering. This episode is brought to you by TC Group, a leading firm of accountants and business advisors with offices in Northampton and Milton Keynes. Hi, and today I'm joined by Paula and Patrick Faughnan from TC Group. Thanks for joining me.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. So we just start by getting to know you guys a little bit? Tell me a little bit about yourselves and your journey and how you've ended up at TC Group.
Okay, shall I start? So I'm Paula. I'm a corporate finance director at TC. I've been with the firm working with yourself, Patrick, for about 4 years now. So originally trained with a top 10 accountancy firm, spent quite a long time working for myself, consulting for larger multinational corporates, and then came back into the SME market probably about 6 years ago now. So love working with business owners and business leaders in this market.
Brilliant.
Cheers, Paula. My name is Patrick Faughnan. I'm head of corporate finance at TC Group. I suppose in our role, we help clients consider kind of growth or exit strategies. Most of the exit strategies tend to be sales to third parties, sales to management teams, or even sales to employees. Like Paula alluded to, we only work with owner-managed businesses. We don't do any listed work. And we've got a niche, I suppose, in tech and innovation businesses, which is excellent.
Okay, so you've mentioned exits there, which is great because it leads sort of right into what we want to talk about to start with. So Paula, can you tell me in today's market, what's separating those businesses that are achieving premium valuations and those that aren't? What are the key factors there?
Okay, so I guess it comes back to the fundamentals of what a good business looks like. And it extends to, the team. Are you building a strong management team who are capable of making very quick decisions in today's market where it's very, very dynamic? Have you got the right systems and processes in place, not only for how the business is operating now, but also is it scalable? Can you achieve scalable growth by the processes that are currently in place? It also extends to management information. So have you got the management information and the data that enables you to make the correct decisions? And it also extends to looking at customers and suppliers, and have you got a nicely diversified customer and supplier base? And are you able to convert what you do into cash? So how short is your working capital cycle? Are your customers, do they pay you quite quickly, or have you got a bad debt history? So it comes back to all those building blocks that make a very strong business. But I guess what stands a business apart to achieve that premium valuation, if you had two comparable businesses that both had the fundamentals aligned, then the next step is really about that vision. How strong are you able to stay ahead? How are you able to stay ahead of the market and be agile and pivot, particularly in what is quite a very dynamic operating environment at the moment?
Yeah, thank you. And I think the most sort of the question that I feel is really, really important, Patrick, is when we're thinking about exits and succession, what should people be doing now? Even if they're not thinking about selling straight away or it's not imminent, what should they be doing to make sure that they're maximising their options and maximising their value?
So Paula made some valid points about getting the basics right, but so some of the business owners we talk to, they quite like knowing what the business is worth today. So drawing a line in the sand, say, what's our business worth today? And what are those kind of value drivers that we need to be considering working on? So Paula made some really valid points, but actually someone to look under the bonnet of your business and say, if we could extend X or work on Y, your business would go from this value today to that value tomorrow. To go one step further, I think it's helpful for the businesses to get all the basic kind of fundamentals in terms of commercials, legal documents in place. So what we do actually do with some of our clients is kind of build a data room. The data room's the kind of the file system you have ready were you to sell your business or think about a sale, but get that ready today so that when a buyer taps you on the shoulder or you go to market, you make sure that you've got all the contracts in place. You've got your legal agreements, your leases are renewed. All the basics are ready to go so that you're kind of hot to trot, I suppose, when that day comes.
Okay, and we know right now there's a huge amount of uncertainty in the market, loads, but people are still doing deals. These deals are still happening. Can you describe the current mood in the UK market at the moment?
Okay, I would describe the current mood, particularly in the SME market, as cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
So, as you say, transactions are still taking place. Owner-managed businesses, those businesses, at some point, there's a natural need for succession because owners will need and want to retire at some point. So, at the moment, we're seeing buyers, sellers, funders with an appetite to transact. But I would say that people are going into transactions with probably greater sensitivity around what they're looking for and just a bit more caution. So we've seen, the market has been quite resilient.
Okay.
And yeah, we are seeing probably deal multiples and valuation softening, but actually, and processes changing, things taking much longer. But actually, we are seeing, as a result of that, also greater success rates as well.
Okay, that's interesting. So moving away from sort of exits and succession now, and let's talk a little bit about strategy. We know that rising costs are really squeezing people's margins. What are those strategic moves that you're seeing businesses and business owners make to sort of protect the value of their businesses and stay competitive with those rising costs?
I suppose touching on rising costs, it's almost been probably not just twofold, probably three or fourfold for most business owners. So they've seen costs in national insurance, and costs in minimum wages. They've then seen oil prices go up, cost of raw materials go up. It's a bit of a perfect storm over the last few months, or probably in the last 6 years post-COVID, really.
Yeah.
So I suppose the fundamental is to be agile and flexible. I always think cash is king. It's a bit of a cliche, actually. But having business owners that have got probably enough cash and I suppose funding lines to buy stock in advance to make sure they've got the stock to support the growth or the demand, because it's a misconception, actually. Growth does cost money. Clients have to have the cash available, and debtors turning into cash to be able to buy the raw material to support future growth. Another point, I suppose, we're seeing a lot of clients in the kind of the innovation sector progressing is using technology, using technology and automation to make their processes slicker, more efficient, to probably tackle some of the rising costs. We've even seen outsourcing used quite a lot, particularly in certain practices, because the cost of raw materials being imported could be kind of cheaper, although maybe not always at the same standard as being manufactured in the UK.
Okay, so you touched a little bit on the technology there. How important are technology and data and AI now in building those really scalable, attractive businesses?
It's really, really important. I think the risk is, if you're not, as a business leader, embracing technology and looking at data, then you risk being left behind. And if you're not doing it, your competitors are likely to be doing that. And I think tech is so important, and those processes in becoming more efficient. But that data, because we spoke about everything, so many decisions coming thick and fast with a very, a changing market that we're looking at the minute, that, there's lots of unforeseen events that are happening seemingly all the time. You need the raw data to make some real-time decisions. And how do you do that with clarity and with confidence? So it does go hand in hand with building a sustainable business. And we're seeing ourselves, not just our clients and the companies that we're working with, but we're, as a business ourselves, embracing tech and AI. Sorry, I can't say it. And building that into our own processes, and in order that we become more efficient as advisors,
of course,
and have that greater level of insight.
Because it's not there to replace it;
No,
it's there to assist, isn't it? And
enhance.
it's there to make you more efficient. And
Absolutely.
which I think is a bit of a misconception around it. And
there's a fear of loss of jobs for certain individuals.
Exactly.
And embracing it, and it's change.
Yeah.
And change isn't always good, but sometimes it needs to be embraced.
No, it's not. I mean, talking of change, like you said, there's a lot of changes in the market. There's a lot of uncertainty. How have the geopolitics and the economic uncertainty really changed the way that deals are getting done, rather than stopping them? Because, like we said, they're still happening. They're just happening differently.
I agree with that. We're seeing deal structures being changed.
Okay.
So, traditionally you'd see more business owners selling, and they'd get the lion's share of their money on day one, and they'd walk away, and there might be a little bit of money to follow. We're seeing businesses' performance, probably in the last 5 or 6 years, fluctuating for some of the issues that we've alluded to, some of the challenges in the marketplace. That's fine. So we're seeing more business owners paying probably less money on day one, or bridging the gap in what the buyers are willing to pay, but what the sellers are willing to accept, by having more creative structures. So that could be more money paid on the drip, or kind of deferred consideration that's linked to targets, or the seller hanging around, or linked to contracts being renewed, or even some further consideration, what we call like an earn-out consideration, being linked to future performance. But on the whole, it's our job, buying or selling, to make sure the deal structure works for our clients. But we've certainly seen more creative structures, I think, haven't we, in the last probably couple of years.
Okay, and we know that the deals are taking longer and the due diligence is deeper. What can be done to make sure that those deals don't stall? What can be done to make sure that the momentum keeps going?
So as you say, due diligence is taking longer. And sometimes we are seeing processes actually stall because of, external events mean that actually people need to take stock, and we need to actually see how things play out as well. But how can we help our clients get best prepared for due diligence? And it is around that financial data. It is around probably front end loading our process to make sure our clients are properly prepared for what's ahead, so that we are trying to keep the momentum going as much as possible on a transaction.
Okay. So just as a final thought from the two of you, what's a practical step that SME owners can take, say, in the next 6 months to strengthen their position? Like, if you could give that one piece of advice, what would that be?
Do you want me to go?
Go on.
I suppose personally, I think it's helpful for business owners to know what the business is worth today. What's the value of your business today? And what are the value drivers that you should be concentrating on, so that when you come to exit, you're realizing the best value your business can achieve. But at the same time, personally, as business owners, you should be taking advice to see what you personally are seeking. What are your personal objectives? Where do you need to get to financially, so that the two moons should align in terms of business value and kind of personal, aspirations and objectives as well.
Interesting.
It's more than one answer, sorry.
No, I think that's great advice. And I would also add that, particularly at the moment, that strategic planning has probably got a much shorter time frame, but it still has a place. So I think for owners to still think about strategy in terms of 6, 12 months, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but actually be prepared to be flexible and pivot. And I think that will put owners and leaders in a really strong position.
Brilliant. Well, there's some really, really great points in there, guys. Really good food for thought. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today. Paula and Patrick, I've really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. See you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye. That's it for this episode of Ask the Expert. Thanks so much for listening, and we hoped you picked up some useful insights and inspiration along the way. If you enjoyed the conversation, please give us a like, share or rating on the platform you're using. Please follow Silverstone Technology Cluster on LinkedIn and subscribe to the STC YouTube channel or the podcast on Spotify or Apple so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you, so if you have any comments or a particular topic or guest you'd love to hear from, drop us an email to jeannie@silverstonetechnologycluster.com. Bye for now.